We all know that once enemies go past level 90, Grenier in particular, armor levels get so ridiculous that corrosive projection becomes mandatory, and in the cases where it's not used, nothing else can substitute the power of armor-stripping abilities and high DPS weapons modded for corrosive damage. The problem with our current damage system isn't the fact that puncture and impact are dogshit when compared to slash. That's not the issue. The issue is that slash is the only basic damage proc worth taking because it's the only one that actually helps you against enemies that have no business being able to soak up several magazines worth of bullets without dying. 30% reduced damage will not do a damn thing against a level 100 heavy gunner, unless you think being killed 1.6 seconds slower actually makes a difference. Staggering or knocking back an enemy won't do jack shit for you except delay the inevitable. Bleeds applied onto enemies that are affected by the boomstick in your possession are the only thing that will actually help you kill, which is the entire fucking point of dealing damage. Current IPS changes consist of 3 different yet all similarly shitty solutions. First off, slash is getting nerfed, because as we all know, the reason why slash is so popular among the players is because it can be applied multiple times onto enemies and not because the damage it provides can ignore the bullshit that is enemy armor. Secondly, puncture is getting changed. It still doesn't do shit in terms of helping you kill shit, but at least you are not being killed in 0.9 seconds anymore, right? Finally, impact is getting tweaked to the point that it'll actually be worse than it is now.
But why? Why would you do that? Why would you do any of that?
I don't know what the thought process is over at DE, but a ragdoll isn't an immobilize. It's a fucking displacement, which is useful when you're not trying to kill enemies. In other words, changing impact so it displaces what you're trying to kill is counterproductive. Allow me to demonstrate what each looks like. This is an immobilize. This is a displacement. This is an immobilize. This is a displacement. Got it? Good. The proposed IPS changes would do nothing but make the high-level areas harder, not easier, for the players. Nerfing slash kills the one thing that made using other weapons fun, and it makes pure slash weapons even more of a necessity, and we all know that having something be even more of a necessity than it already is fun. Tweaking impact to working against you by becoming capable of ragdolling enemies instead of making them easier to kill in any way shape or form is useless and pointless in the face of slash. Puncture's there too, I guess. Nobody cares about puncture. If changing slash puncture and impact is really that important, here's all that needs to be done. 1. Make puncture apply weak spots that when fired at ignore enemy armor. When you hear puncture, the first thing that comes to mind is piercing, not debuffing. 2. Change impact damage so all damage dealt to staggered enemies ignores shields. 3, and the most important part. Don't fucking touch slash. Crowd control has its place in the game, but shoehorning it into my guns is the equivalent of introducing an RNG-based resource into an already RNG-based game. Crowd control should not and never should be forced into damage 3.0. The point of dealing damage is to kill shit, not to cage or ragdoll enemies. If I wanted to apply CC onto an enemy, I would use one of my already in place abilities to do the job for me, not my fucking firearm. Guns are for killing and nothing more, so unless you're going to bring back the Tenno space program, cut it out with this ragdoll bullshit. Thank you for watching.